More than 500 community leaders from around the state converged on the campus of Castleton College on Monday, October 1st, to attend a conference that highlighted the critical role local leaders play in their communities. The conference was an opportunity for them to attend several workshops, listen to panel discussions, and learn new skills from each other and from the many statewide figures who were in attendance at the conference, which was organized and sponsored by the Vermont Council on Rural Development. Paul Costello, the executive director of the Vermont Council on Rural Development, summed up what he thought about when the term leadership came up and why strong leadership can mean the difference between getting something done or not.
Well, we do see towns where people build unity and direction and they tee up together and they build a sense of optimism and capacity and momentum as towns, and they move economic development platforms to be more dynamic places for the future, to attract young people. And then there are places that don't know where to start, or they build a long problem statement of all the things going wrong, or all the things that would be great if someone else did for us, the select board or somebody. But the town itself isn't strongly engaged. And so we've come to see the leadership challenge of encouraging people who step up and bring people together, set direction, build projects, and then follow through. We kind of see that as the fundamental challenge of democracy in a rural community. How do we help celebrate those people, encourage them, and then what do we need to do to support the next generation of that leadership? And so the conference is exploring all those issues, and we want to learn. We're asking people big questions because we don't think we have all the answers.
Governor Phil Scott made some opening remarks on the importance of community, and leadership was quickly underscored in an opening panel discussion and described as a major factor which explained why some communities thrived while others survived.
That one person picking up the phone is an act of leadership. You know, when you pick up the phone and call your select board chair or your state rep or your pastor or whomever and say, I'm concerned about this, it makes a difference.
Representative Mitzi Johnson, the Speaker of Vermont's House of Representatives, was part of the opening panel, and afterwards she stressed the opportunities for leadership positions that were available in a small state like Vermont.
Vermont's pretty lucky to have a lot of different opportunities to build leadership, to develop the bench, and to encourage people to get involved. There are also, because of our very small communities, there, comparatively to many other states, there are a lot of opportunities on your school board, your DRB, a select board, a volunteer board, a library board, a volunteer rescue or fire. There are a lot of places to get involved, and each of those organizations, as well as some of the overarching organizations in the state, have these terrific programs where you can get involved, and you can dive into the questions of leadership, and you can help just get better at developing your community and building the kind of community you want to see.
Following the opening panel discussion, those attending the conference divided up across several breakout sessions to hear about various experiences others have had and what were some of the elements that made a successful project go. One of the discussions focused on the Project Vision initiative in Rutland, widely credited with helping turn around a malaise in the city around crime, drug use, and deteriorating neighborhoods.
We had strong examples of leadership and people walking the talk. We had the police department, which for a long time was not held in high esteem. They dramatically changed themselves. If you go to the second floor of the police department, you don't find police officers anymore. You find social workers, mental health workers, because they recognize, as the chief observed earlier on, that the problems facing us were not going to be solved just by arresting more people. Nobody else, even though that seems to be an obvious thing to do and should be done in every single community, you know how many other communities are doing that? None. Nobody else is doing that. And what it's done is it is breaking down the barriers. It has created trust. And it has helped the police department, and it has helped all those agencies meet their objectives of helping the most challenged people in our communities.
During lunch, awards were handed out, and among the recipients was Shannon Barsotti of Pownell, who is a member of the town's planning commission and a promoter of local agriculture. After the lunch, we talked with two 11th grade students from Arlington Memorial High School, Carolyn Crawford and Colby Wilkins, about what leadership meant to them.
Getting as many people involved into something as possible.
A leader to me is a person who is a representative of other people and is willing to encourage others to do things such as sports or help create events.
The afternoon sessions continued with more workshops and discussions, like one on organizing for young professionals, which prompted some conversation about getting younger Vermonters involved in local government.
Important to me that my children get to grow up with the same things that I grew up in town, our recreation department and all of that stuff, but how do we get more people like me into town when we have nothing to offer? So,
Do you feel like Vernon has nothing to offer? Is that?
no, I don't. I feel like it does have plenty to offer. I feel like we're met head on by the aging population that would much rather see it turn into a retirement community as opposed to bring it back to life and actually sustain itself.
Some 20 breakout sessions were held over the course of the afternoon, giving participants a wide range to choose from. They included sessions on revitalizing downtowns and advancing outdoor recreation and trails, as well as case studies in towns such as St. Albans and Craftsbury.
You know, and sometimes it takes a while. I like to look at what Vernon has been through, where, you know, they took an enormous hit with 600 jobs leaving the town, but they'd geared the way the community worked based on that employer and based on those jobs. And when the jobs left and the economic fallout hit them, it was really difficult for that community to come together. People were angry at each other. They're angry at the state of Vermont. They're like struggling for what's the way to work forward. But we saw those folks sort of line up and say, well, let's get over it because no one's going to rescue us. What's within our power? We've got a downtown which we could redevelop. We lack a store, and we need a store or a place that we gather. Let's get to work on it. There's legacy stuff from the plant, buildings that could be business incubators. There's other facilities there. How do we stop reacting and stop waiting for someone else to do something and sort of take charge and line up together? And so that's a town that has done tremendous work to pull itself together and to set positive direction. And they're changing the game in that community.
For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.